Hey YouTube, it's Strictly Broken here, and we're back at it again with another commentary VOD video, and we have a returning guest today because this VOD commentary is a bit special, and it's kind of on the spot. I just called him up, and he was able to do it, so awesome. It's Samson Chow, LycheePunnet, whatever you want to call him. Introduce yourself.
I think people know who I am, but we'll go with Samson for now.
Yeah, whatever. Famous person, I guess, and whatnot. Today we're reviewing a game of a Christmas special locals. Yes, we are No Lives, and we did a locals event on Christmas Day, and there was a ton of extra prizes and stuff. And the finalists are playing on this video. It's he already did a profile on the channel, but he's on the left doing playing Charlotte, and on the right it's yours truly playing a BWC second place, winning AOT. So gotta rep that a little bit. And yeah, let's just get it started. A little bit of self arrogance there, but whatever.
So these are two decks that want to get their compression started level one. SAO kind of like wants to get their
AOT,
I don't know.
AOT.
Wait, oh you play oh crap, I
That's
thought
it.
you were playing SAO.
That's
Never
it.
mind. AOT. Alright.
Yeah.
No, my I don't think my statement changes too much. AOT eventually does want to win through compression, I think, especially because I know you don't like Levi.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of the normal AOT builds go for like a Levi finish, get multiple reverses, yeah. I think the main reason that happens is because in English people value flashy finishes more, and that's the place where AOT gets the most coverage. So yeah. So I see to begin with you dropped the Mikasa Gate. I believe is that the combo of level one?
No, the stock's supposed to come with the level one. Gate is
Starts off
no
with
combo.
level one. Okay, starts with attacking with a brainstorm means you didn't draw a runner, that's not good. Charlotte cancels with the climax. That might be a bad thing if he doesn't have the climax already. So he clocks the red climax. If I knew this guy better, I might be able to say something, but I don't, so okay. Do those two tie? No,
Uh,
he wins.
that wins. My brainstorm's weak. It's 1K power.
Alright, so he wins. I don't think you specifically don't want to let that get into memory because you don't run the Levi.
Yeah, I don't mind too much. In fact, I think he wants to burn because he plays gate combo and it gives him a lot more reach against my deck.
That's fair enough, but you would still want to stock bomb him if possible.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna double pop and deny him like even a search there. And I think it's worth
Nice.
it.
No, that's pretty good. Okay, so you get a gate here. I assume you're going to get your brainstorm back. Yes, you are. And that'll be paid out immediately next turn for value. So he's clocked two climaxes and he's cancelled once. So you're probably feeling happy about your chances here, I suppose. You get to.
I'm feeling great.
Oh,
Oh, I knew Ricky's gonna.
oh well, there you go. Yeah, I don't think like at this point in time it's landed 60-40 in your favor, ignoring the actual matchup. Even if you let him feed on you, which I sincerely doubt is going to happen, if you don't full field and he gets level one, which I think he will, then you can just use your event or you can just naturally run away from his reverses and he doesn't actually get the value he desperately needs. Plus he whiffed his anti-burn because you BM'd him, so that's pretty cool, I guess.
It's a cool, neat trick with the Levi. Though I like the card a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a really good effect to have, um, just to have access to. All right, so you're going to take some damage here. I don't think that matters too much. Okay. So here's a bit of a conundrum. I'm not sure whether you want to full field rush him and give him an opportunity to farm, or whether you want to just take it slow and make it so he can't farm. Though because he has brainstorms on field, I have a feeling you're going to do the former and just gonna triple field fronts, maybe brainstorm first, get some 1-0s.
That's
Oh, you
okay.
clocking the brainstorm? I mean, you probably have two. That's
Yeah.
fair enough.
You see in my hand, I actually have like multiple stock souls, so I just want to go in and mash combos, right? Build stock. It's crazy when you have multiples.
I mean, that's fair. Do the Mikasas have any way of staying alive?
They're just 6-5 on opponent's turn, which is not even weak. If you have a 2K counter, 8-5 is a contestable power if he doesn't have the 1K support in the back, right?
That one's
But
pretty big.
yeah, I mean, I'm losing level 1 most of the time, but I think
It's
getting
fine.
my
Your advantage is guaranteed, yeah?
yeah, it's just yeah, it's on
Yeah,
attack pay 1.
He wants salvage?
Yeah, pay one salvage and Aaron.
Mm. I don't actually think you need to use the salvage more than once this turn. Your hand looks pretty full from where I can see it. I guess playing Stop Soul changes things, but I don't know.
We'll see
Probably
what I do.
just
I don't remember what I do for some of the turns,
you
but
play the clock on. Is that the clock encore?
yeah. And you
Alright.
see a positioning swap. This is important for just a 500 in fronts and stuff. It's a good habit to get into, putting your walls on side lanes. Never the center. It's just something. It's a
Yeah.
small thing that you should get used to doing.
That's because there's more and more effects that say your middle front row gets power. Plus, it means your opponent can play 2 supports, and that'll give 1k to the middle row, whereas they can only get 500 on the side rows. Yeah, so that's 3 hits. You expect all of this to hit because he's gone through. Well, I guess maybe 1 cancel is reasonable, but you expect he's holding 1 climax because he's clocking so many of them. If he sees all these climaxes going, he can't keep clocking climaxes because he knows he'll need to race at some point, assuming you're not retarded, which I don't think you are.
Well, who knows?
You can correct.
Who
correct
knows
me.
about that, man? So you see
Yeah,
some
so he's
great
so-
triggers, some
Yeah.
timely triggers there.
yeah. So are you paying it out again? Sure. So effectively, what I think is he's actually at 5 climaxes because at this point you probably deduced he's holding one, and I think it's fine to deduce that he's holding one because if he's not holding one, you're in such a good position in the race that it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just going all in and getting heavily rewarded there.
Yeah, I think that was just the correct thing to do objectively because he was out so many climaxes, probably out more than he's like he's letting on, and because of that, like it's a so if he doesn't have a climax, he can't race you. If he does have the extra climax, chances are your damage is all going in. Okay, so he's put in the ramen event. He didn't get to stabilize at level 1. If you guys watched the last video, which you totally should, I'm in it. Then we talked about how Charlotte really wants to stabilize at level 1 and start farming up, but he did not get to do that. In fact, he skips level 1, which is one of the worst things that can happen to a deck like Charlotte. So now he's forced to be a whole level behind in terms of what he's doing. He's swapping with Ayumi. Okay, swap the climax with the climax. It doesn't do very much since you still have a brainstorm and you're not going to deck out before his turn ends, but Ayumi's fine, like whatever. So now I expect he's going to okay, so he hits 1, he puts on. Okay, so because this has happened, I'm expecting he's going to not change, and he's just going to go for the kill on both. Yep, so Stock Soul. So he'll side with that one. Yep. So siding with that one I think is correct because you haven't shown him that many climaxes. It's not like you're not completely dead in the water if you cancel a couple more times, which you are likely to do. So you have the counter there. So
I am 500.
yeah. So Misa is actually pathetically small if you don't have the 1/1 support. Even with the brainstorm buffing her, you have. Is Aaron a support?
Aaron, no. It's only 5k.
He's the 500 in the middle on your turn?
Yeah, only on my turn.
Okay, sure. And Levi's a global. Yeah. Yeah. So even though does Aaron get power on your turn? He gets power on turn only, isn't it?
Yeah, he only gets power on my turn. He's a weenie on opponent's turn.
So that's really depressing that Charlotte could reverse that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but my board.
Yeah, like not only do you not only does he not get the search, but you don't have to clock encore. Not that I think you would have clock encored anyway. Your plan would, I assume, to be your plan would be probably not clock, brainstorm immediately, and use that combo one more time.
Yeah. Well, you're just reading me like a book, but I mean, overall, I think we play similarly enough where the plays are.
I don't know about reading you like a book. I'm just saying the logical plays, and I think you're a logical enough person that those plays line up. Yeah, so hopefully reasonable. You hit 1, I think. Yeah.
Happened to be the last one in the deck actually. So I searched the runner, which
Okay.
because he has an open slot, it actually allows me to thin the deck 1 more card on his turn. So that's like a small thing that's very useful.
Yeah. So that basically gives you 1 less damage that you can take. And you don't really care about him farming because he's so far behind. Is he far behind? He's not actually that far behind. but he's really on the back foot here. He's nowhere near where he wants to be, and he's about to lose 2 cards on his field. His 1/0 counter's not going to save him because Yusa is really small on their turn. And now you're going to charge 4 clean stock, I assume. And
I think I do resolve the combo though. It's just I think building.
I mean, fair enough, and it's important as well. So I know a lot of players here would really want to go for the Mikasa change. I disagree with that right now because even though you won't necessarily get an opportunity to do it again, well, no, you won't because you paid out the Mikasa you triggered earlier. You won't get an opportunity to change again, but you also don't need to. It's better to just not pay any cost here and just keep on pressing forward, and because you're in a very advantageous position. Even if you cancel this last one, I really think you're in a good position here. So probably get back an Aaron 3-2. I don't actually know what you would get back.
Yeah, you're so far ahead that he's going to be at 3, and this card is going to be so valuable. So
I agree. So yeah, he's so he's already at 3. He lost so many climaxes early. That's just bad luck. But even with that, you need to know when to be able to push and punish this. So now he's going to sit at 3-1. I expect him to play out 2 3-2s and probably something very mediocre. Like if he had another Ayumi to play out, that would actually be good because he'd make you refresh with 7 instead of 8, which is what I presume you have.
8. No, I have 7 in Waiter Mac. I have 1 more stock soul in hand. I drew 3 of them and I just greedily kept them all.
Fair enough. If the Mikasa lives another turn, then you get to get some value off that. If not, you still get to slam a stock soul, which I firmly believe is the best sort of climax when you're ahead, because it just gets you further and further ahead. And
yes, for sure. Yeah. I just love stock soul so much. Like, it allows you to be so flexible with a lot more plays because you have 1 more resource to work with every single turn. So you can just be more greedy with a lot of plays, and you can. It helps with the compression game as well. It's just really nice.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough.
Refreshing clean, so at least he has that going for him.
Mm-hmm.
Clocks. That's a ballsy clock.
I mean, maybe he has 2 uses in hand. At this point in time, he just failed to get advantage completely. He put his brainstorm on the incorrect card, so he just couldn't do anything. Now if he gets to change to the other Yusa, or what he can do is he can resolve. If he can change the Misa, and then he can change the Yusa, and that'll give him another heal, and end up with approximately the same board anyway, which I assume is what he's going to do. Like it's Charlotte. You need to know your place. He's looking at your error, and I don't know why he's doing that. Anyway, I doubt he's going to accelerate. That seems extremely incorrect here. But you never know. Yep, so he changes once, and then he changes again. Got to keep the bling on board. So
Doesn't change again. He's greedily going for double scry.
Ooh, that's fair enough. If that's what he wants to do. He doesn't. Well, I mean, he should know at this point. Now he knows 100% that he's a stock soul. You have a stock soul in your hand, or a climax of some sort. But he didn't know that before. So while it's justifiable, that's not what I would have done myself. I noticed you've got the Krista on top of your clock. Do you just use that to get to level 1 from 0-5, or is that like a card you have a purpose for?
I like the Krista a lot, and a big reason for that is it allows me to be more reasonable with my mulligans. Like, a lot of people keep a lot of their 1-0 combos, and that can sometimes clog your hand. You don't have enough zeros to actually make an aggressive push. So if I can dish them away and then salvage again with the Krista throughout the 0-1 game, I'd rather do that. And Krista's just a guarantee +1.
Yeah, no, I mean, guarantee +1 is pretty good when... It's especially good in the other build that doesn't run the climax combo you do, the one that runs like lots of potato girl and just field stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still a really good utility just to have. So he's smacking you for quite a bit here, and you cancelled that last hit. So if you hadn't cancelled that last hit, I'd say he was still in with a chance. But since you did, it's a very, very long road from here.
For sure. Like, you have opportunities to do several lines of play. You can early drop Aaron's,
early
or you
drop
can
errands. Yeah,
change even. But changing is probably a wrong line of play, actually.
yeah. So you can slam the errands here. So Aaron's the one with the advanced summon condition of if your opponent is at level, if your opponent has a level 3 rather, you can advance summon it. It's a really, really strong condition when you are ahead and your opponent is struggling, like in this situation. And I know that you're happy that AOT has this because it means you can push really hard while behind. Now you want to clear those uses somehow, but you don't have enough power now. Uh, I know Aaron gets some amount of power, but it's difficult. It's difficult to clear away his 11-5s backed by counters, because that's the way that Charlotte's going to get back in the game. Yep. So you're only going to try and clear one of them. You're going to try and keep the other Aaron safe, because having the 2-soul beater is nice. And I see the level support in your hand, so well, okay. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty obvious you're going to play it for various reasons, but yeah. Even though that was clean stock you used, I think it's worthwhile getting at least one of their big threats off the board. Especially because if Charlotte's going to win from this point, it's going to be using multiple uses, either to double change and double heal, or just to make sure they don't take too much damage.
Yeah, for sure. And you see that final change there just before going into combat phase. I just found that having the level 3 facing the level 1 is actually flexible for a finishing potential. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. So if the first one or two attacks stick, and it's more favorable for you to side for 2 than swing for 3, then yeah, it's absolutely correct. Right, so swinging for 2, you triggered a climax there. So this is one way that Charlotte might get back in the game.
yeah,
Okay, so he
leaves.
didn't cancel. Didn't
Leaves
cancel,
for
leaves it on
free.
top. Yeah.
Uh,
So this defensive scry is weakened a lot because you clash anyway, so you're guaranteed 1 damage regardless. And now you wanna front him, because 3 will kill him, 2 will not. And
and
no,
he
he
cancels.
cancels, but he takes 1. All right. So at this point in time, he's got no significant field. So the only way he'll get back in the game is with a Hail Mary play that you just don't cancel. That's unlikely since you only triggered once, but regardless, he's going to need to make that play if he wants to, well, win. And that's kind of why we play, to win. So I would expect him to change his last Yusa. Not yeah, change to a Yusa, maybe play a second one, and then slam a climax if that's at all possible. I'm not convinced it is, but you never know.
Yeah.
The video's shaking up a bit for me now, but that's okay because this is pretty much locked up for you. You have an entire level's worth of advantage. Granted, it is his turn, but you're also relatively well compressed, whereas he is only 2 away from death. We'll think about him being at 3-4 because I'm almost certain he's going to change. It's the logical thing to do. If he has the gate climax, then he'll be able to try and burn you for a Hail Mary kill. And
Yeah.
okay, so he's pushed his whole field up. It means he doesn't have another Misa or Yusa to play, and that's not good. So I expect him to change and, in the best case scenario, slam a climax. If he doesn't manage that, then well, pretty much game over. He's not going to push enough damage without a climax. You don't have an empty board. You're likely to cancel anyway. So right now, I'd be very surprised if Charlotte had any chance whatsoever. Maybe like a single digit chance to pull this game off, and that's assuming you draw into literally nothing and he god cancels. So yeah, not likely to happen. But anyway, it's never over till it's over. It's Weiss. So you've got to keep watching till the end. So he's doing a bit of counting, bit of calculation.
I think like so. This is where the gate shines for him the most, which a lot of people switch for pants. You're gonna see a play where he's gonna change into the 3-2 healer, and he's actually gonna, because I played him, so I know. He's actually gonna
Mm,
go for the burn combo here,
yeah,
as
fair
we
enough.
see here. And I think this is actually a huge upside to playing the gate, which people have switched over for pants. It's that you actually have some reach in scenarios where your deck originally had no reach at all. So he has lethal on board basically.
I mean, you can also play what's it called? The now Musashi clone. That's significantly weaker than the burn, but it is what you would call extra reach. I also think that switching over from pants is correct because the pants combo is well, it's pants, it's ass as we would say. So there's really not much reason to keep with pants unless you're one of those people who's like, oh, I can have 3 pants and when I trigger pants, I'll get my gates. So it's like I'm playing 8 gates, and I'll just look at you and shake my head because that's not actually how it works. Because in this scenario, he quite obviously drew into the gate, and if that had been a pants climax, then well, uh, he'd have to take his pants off and bend over because, I mean, that's kind of the situation. Look, the fact that we have pants as the climax is so good because you can just make all these bad jokes and take it. There's no effort, they're high yield, and anyway, back to the actual game. You just took a 3, which means the door's open for him to actually win the game. He's searching through his discard. I don't know why. Like at this point, it's down to fate whether or not he cancels and whether or not you cancel. He needs to hope that the rest of your climax is all stacked at the bottom and that everything goes through, or that the I don't how much does Misa burn for again?
5.
5. Yeah. So he has to hope that goes through.
But I canceled the 2, which is actually good for him. He wanted me to cancel the 2, I guess.
Yeah. So he wants the 5 to go through, which I don't think is going to go through. There's a reason I never thought highly of the GFB 2 build. Like I'm not gonna lie, I thought the yellow girlfriend beta build was better than the blue red 6.5k gets walled by everything build.
Yeah, for sure. It's just burn 5 is like the worst increment of damage ever.
Yeah, 4 is still on the cusp of like it's within the realm of possibility. 5 just seems incredibly unlikely. If you get hit for 4, you're gonna think, well, that was unlucky, but I guess it could have happened. Whereas 5 is like, well, that was again, it's one of those arbitrary separations that we were talking about 3-1 and 3-0 earlier. I think we were anyway. And yeah, it's one of those arbitrary separations. I just think it's not likely to ever hit.
Yeah.
The best burn is burn 2, but that's almost never printed, so.
Yeah. Well, Coach Yusa. Burn 1, burn 1.
I mean, burn 1 is pretty much as good as burn 2. Actually, I think it might be better, because it means, yeah, look, on average, it's about the same. But Sway form is the only thing I can think of that has burn 2 consistently, so it's not too much of a factor. Gertrude scares me a little, but hopefully everyone builds it incorrectly and just doesn't do well with it.
Yeah.
God,
So
scary deck.
We went on a bit of a tangent, but yeah, that's the game there. You know, 3-3-3, he's 3-4, he's out a lot, and just packing it up now. Very, I guess very. Oh, if I had triggered, he actually would have lived. Just showing me there.
If I was a gambling man, I would have put money on you starting from the moment he took Ricky as clock damage. He took get climax as his Ricky damage.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good indicator. I always tell people a lot of times, like, the 0 game, if it goes badly or well, is a really great indicator. If you're gonna bet money on a game, bet on how the 0 game goes. Like,
basically, if you're able to punish someone for having a bad 0 game, the game's like pretty much locked up. It's like it's pretty much the same in Magic. If someone gets land screwed and then you just play a bomb and they can't deal with it, then it's the same thing. It snowballs out of control.
and yeah, so just continuing on the discussion a little bit. What do you think of, like, we see 2 prime examples of sort of grindier style decks. What do you think of their placement in a meta that is so top end heavy these days?
I don't actually think the meta is top end heavy, depending on what you're talking about. A lot of people seem to think that Monogatari and Triad Primus are still like the top meta decks, and those decks have basically, they don't have a consistent end game. I mean, they're consistent at consistently doing nothing except healing, and in Triad Primus' case, doing pretty much nothing except praying. But I don't know, it's really hard to say. If the meta was more cutthroat, then I think these 2 decks specifically are reasonably well placed against, say, Talovru, which I think is still solidly the best deck in the format, though not by a huge amount. The same goes for against Puyo Puyo. The same goes, well, Charlotte specifically, I think, is good against some decks like the Idol Master, whereas Attack on Titan is less good against that deck. But at the same time, I can't fault anyone for taking either of these decks to a serious tournament. I don't like Charlotte as a deck or as a franchise, but I can see why it would be popular. It's got some really good cards at late game if you've managed to get a bit lucky in the mid game. It's got one of the best brainstorms in the game, and those two combined with its pretty powerful snowball potential make me think it is a contender. I don't like it, but it is a contender. Attack on Titan, I'm less high on, but I think it does have a lot going for it. I think the 2-1 change to Mikasa is really stupid. Like
Yes.
if you've ever played against a field swapper, you'll know that you suddenly just have no good attacks. And since Weiss Schwartz is a game about attacking, you're kind of screwed unless you just continuously hit your brainstorms and push damage through. Like you can no longer rely on winning field. That is no longer an option for you, and that's pretty obscene for most decks. Like, for example, a deck like Da Capo Magic, which is well, I don't agree with it, but in Japan, it is an entirely a field-based deck. The same goes for the very new Japanese builds of Haruhi, which are all blue level one, and those are entirely field-based. They suddenly, if they hit you to level two and you get out of Mikasa, they suddenly have no legs to stand on. Like they can't do anything. Their entire game is screwed.
Yeah.
I'm not even exaggerating. This is just absurdly powerful, the power of field swapping. And the fact that Attack on Titan has that, it's not to be underestimated. Uh, so
So,
yeah.
just to draw out, like, I think a big point that you touched on is that, like, for a deck that is kind of grindier to have a place in a meta, it has to have like a niche that favors it against some of the like higher placed decks. Like, in no way are these two decks the highest placed decks, but the fact that they have niches that favor them in certain aspects of the game state are what make them somewhat competitive or competitive, right?
I think so.
Awesome. And now some other interesting points to touch on is so we talk a lot about competitive way shorts. I play the game fairly competitively, I'd like to think, and I'd like to think that you take the game seriously, and you have played the game very competitively as well. Uh, what do you think is what is your stance on like taking like a full blinged out deck, slamming it on the table and just playing? Because both these players, they have maxed out decks. Like, what are your thoughts on that a little bit?
Okay, so I've got a couple of ways to think about this. Previously, when I went to my nationals or our like Springfest or whatever, I would take blinged out decks and I would do pretty well. But at the end of the day, I would notice that I'm not conforming to standards that I play by in other card games. Like in Pokemon, for example, I play minimum rarity because I that game you shuffle so much and you just want to make it easy to shuffle. And in Weiss, it's pretty similar. So what's happened is I've made my main competitive decks completely minimum rarity. Like my Tlavu deck is it has no foils in it whatsoever. Um, and then as I slowly retire decks from being competitive and I like the property, I'll start blinging them out some more. But from my perspective, minimum rarity is the way to go because that's the easiest way to shuffle. That's the way you guarantee you'll never get pulled up on having a possibly marked deck. And that's the way you, I guess, save the most money if you want to be purely competitive. I know a lot of people play the game for the waifu factor. I do as well. Like, I enjoyed the Tulavu Darkness manga. That's why I bought in. But there's a reason why the best Tulavu deck I own, the Yami Mikan deck, is completely minimum rarity, while my Animal deck and my Aliens deck are both max rarity. Like, I'm not going to take those to tournaments. I'd rather just have them because I enjoy the characters.
Hmm. That I think that's a fair stance on it. I think I do unnecessarily go too hard on bling my decks. Like, although like I just don't own a second copy of AOT. Like, I just feel like playing with the foils, like some cosmic factor might help me cancel more. Like having
Look,
having
man, what I reckon about that is I think that foils are a sign of status. It's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be overly proud of, but I think it's therapeutic. Like you look at these foils, you think, wow, because these cards they look amazing. Like you go and see, like you look at Magic cards, they're all right. The art is well done. It's been commissioned, but you look at a foil Magic card, and with a few exceptions, they all pale in comparison to these full art Weiss cards we own and these full art signed foil cards. A lot of people, like a lot of Magic players, they're all biased. They all say things like the subtlety of the Magic cards art or whatever. That's nonsense. Like foils in Weiss look spectacular, and if you want spectacular looking cards that double as both play value and as like therapeutic value, because I'm not gonna lie, I've sometimes just gone through a binder of mine looking at these cards and thinking, wow, I own all these pretty things. Life is slightly better since I own these things. Like, there's no shame in owning foils. That's what I think.
For sure, for sure. And I own a ton of those, so it is quite therapeutic when you just touch them and shuffle them at home sometimes on after a stressful day. So yeah. Final question, just to round off this commentary. You saw a lot of points in the game where the AOT player does take advantage of, basically, I guess, abusing climaxes to his advantage. What are your thoughts on those? And like, what are some good advice you can give people who want to maybe get better on abusing climaxes to rush soul?
Okay, so I want to stress one thing when it comes to this. The AOT player was pretty lucky to have drawn multiple stock souls. Like this is it's just factual. The chances of drawing two of a four of card in the first, say, 25 cards is just above 50% by my reckoning. I know drawing one is like an 85% chance or whatever, but yeah. So drawing both of those is luck to begin with. You got to know when to capitalize on this luck. So the first thing you got to do is you got to look at your opponent's field constantly. Like you got to look at what they're clocking, what they're triggering, what they mulliganed, what they're likely to have in hand. So everyone at this point in time is likely to keep a Global Soul Climax in hand at level 1. This is a mantra. This is what you should go by. It is the assumed, it is the baseline for even mildly competitive Weiss games today. Even if it's not your combo, you should have a Climax at level 1 to slam because your opponent is going to have the same and you don't want to fall behind. So you absolutely have to assume these things, and then taking all of that into account, you have to figure out when is using this climax going to benefit me most, and chance that's going to be at level 1. So I guess what you need to take away is you need to observe your opponent, and you need to know when you need to keep that second climax because they might be a little less lucky than normal. You need to know how long you can keep the climax. So you might not necessarily have a great opportunity at level 1, but then your opponent double triggers and their brainstorm hits 2 climaxes. And at this point in time, if you still have that second climax, like if you didn't clock it earlier, then you'll be able to play it. And that's something you can control. That's something that if you are lucky enough to have the opportunity to do, you can 100% control. And you need to be able to give yourself those opportunities. So you want to hold your climaxes, your second climax anyway, somewhat late if you think that is appropriate. If your opponent has shown you no climaxes whatsoever, and you think it's more prudent to go for the rapid mill strategy where you try to out-compress them, that's fine as well. You just need to be able to judge the game state, you need to observe your opponent, you need to watch their body language, see what they've likely to have drawn. I mean, this is harder against experienced card gaming players or, God forbid, poker players who can mask their movements, but I don't know. Wise players tend to be pretty open about what they say and do.
Yeah,
So
I do notice Weiss players are very inexperienced on the poker face front a little bit.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
and yeah, that's some great advice for new up and coming competitive players. Thanks
Watch
so
your
much.
opponents, guys. Watch your opponents. This is like the thing all other card gamers do that wise players don't do. I get that a lot of you don't really care about the game and stuff, but if you're watching this video, you probably do. So watch your opponents. Like this is the most basic thing nobody does enough. And I guarantee to you, like I don't watch my opponent enough. So I sincerely doubt you're watching your opponent to
That
a
is
degree.
very
I think.
true. But when you have so many signs on your field, why would I stare at my opponent when I can stare at those?
Yeah, see, that's the real battle in science. You just show everyone your e-peen as by way of glittery cardboard, and they stop looking at your face. They stop looking at your tells. They don't even ask to see your graveyard. They just admire the signs.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that wraps up today's VOD segment, and thank you so much, Samson Chow slash LycheePunnet. Always a pleasure to have you.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And all right, guys, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Also, check out his channel, Top Tier Tears. Just just throw that out there a little bit. And yeah, see you guys next time.
Ciao.